tracks, stats, and facts. www.enterthedome.com.
Good people, what's going on? Episode 24 of the Dome Podcast. As I always do, thank you for the support so far. Thanks for following me, Tony, the Dome on Twitter, of course, Enter the Dome on IG, etc., etc., and of course, enterthedome.com. We'll talk about that later. So, listen, happy weekend, happy holidays, things of that nature. You know, I posted recently like my, greatest MCs list, greatest producers, greatest albums, but all of those lists from enterthedome.com are outdated. They're years old, and I just posted them again for fun and conversation. Again, I love just good, healthy Twitter, hip-hop, and music conversation. It's not that deep. It's just for fun, But as I was looking recently at doing some updates, Talib Kweli came into my thoughts because I was listening to a Black Star album. I said, you know what, let me pull out all of his music, even starting with songs from like Lyricist Lounge and stuff like that, leading into him and Mos Def, I believe, creating Black Star around 1997. And so in doing that, I was like, wow, maybe I have to reevaluate Talib Kweli as an MC and reevaluate, Talib Kweli discography versus other legends, old and new. Because I'm like, I think it's stacking up and holding up very well in regard to even his contemporaries on down. I think that Talib Kweli possibly is one of the most underrated MCs of the last 23 years, 24 years. I don't think that he gets the recognition he should get. I mean, people are like, oh, Talib is dope. He has his podcast, now, and people know who he is and things of that nature. And even back in the Black Album when Jay-Z said, lyrically, I'll be Talib Kweli, you know what I'm saying? And some people back then, even in 2003, who weren't hip-hop heads, were like, well, who is Talib Kweli? You know what I'm saying? Like some people, casuals didn't even know who Talib Kweli was. And of course, all of us hip hop heads knew Talib Kweli because, the Black Star album was released like 5 years before the Black album, the Black Star album, was 1998. You know what I'm saying? And people on the East Coast definitely knew who Mos Def and Talib Kweli was, but for several years, they were kind of still stuck in people were looking at them like they're just underground MCs. And, okay, underground MCs, they can all rap. It's all kinds of boom bap, soul samples, all this kind of stuff like that, but not looking at them as overall artists, and what Talib Kweli showed over the years is that whether solo or in the group Black Star or in all his collaborations, is that he can always hold his own. He can always make good music. He can always make not just thought-provoking music, but also he had a couple of joints that, well, they were still thought-provoking, but they played on the radio and in the club too. You know what I'm saying? But I think, again, people don't look at him in like the way you look at maybe a mainstream artist. So, you don't look at him as this big figure in hip-hop. But I think we're kind of shortening Talib Kweli's status in the culture. So I was looking at the top 25 MCs I've had in the past. Then I looked at Talib's discography, and then I listened closely for about a week or two. Now, people on Twitter know that I've been listening to that Mobb Deep Hell on Earth for about a month now. But on the side, I've been listening to Talib Kweli's entire discography. And I'm going to tell you something. Even though, obviously, I've been following him since Lyricist Lounge, I think I even underestimated Talib Kweli's stat. And I think he's getting some bad rap. He's not on Twitter anymore, so that Twitter presence is gone. And I think one thing that happened just real quick with that is personally, I think that Talib Kweli has had some issues that kind of took some attention away from his music. I think at one point he had issue with Rez. The singer Rez. I think they had that idol worship. They had a group, and I think that he had some legal issues with Rez, and I think Rez was saying that he was trying to, make advances on her, and when those advances didn't work, and I think he was still married at the time, that business relationship dissolved. So I think they even had, I think they might have had a court date, or they had some issues. This is years ago or whatever. And so that happened. And then, Talib was known to, he's kind of like Kevin Durant, what I'm saying? As far as like, Kevin Durant he pays attention to the tweets about him. He used to jump in and argue with people and things of that nature. Like, dude, you're one of the greatest players ever. What are you doing arguing with some dude living in his mom's basement with 25 followers? So he was doing, so Talib was kind of like that, like really going back and forth. And I think that, he's a smart guy in terms of history, what I'm saying, Black consciousness and things of that nature. So he was really political, but I think that he got too deep into going back and forth with trolls, and he was expressing his views kind of strongly. And, the cost of freedom of speech is not free. And freedom of speech is not, it's not cheap. What I'm saying? It'll cost you. And so he was banned from Twitter. I don't know if he's still on IG. I'm not sure. But he's banned from Twitter. So I think that when that happened, a lot of people don't talk about him. Twitter's a big place for hip hop conversation now, and Talib is really not part of that anymore. So I think that it didn't erase him from the consciousness, but he's not talked about. So I think it's time, I'll do my best to have people look at his career again for what it's worth. Only the career. Because we know personally a lot of people had issues with Kweli on social media. But like I always say on Twitter, I care about the music. So let's do this. Let's just look at this perspective. Because I don't know if people are really looking at him as the great artist that he is. Started in 1998, of course. The Black Star album really came at a time when, DMX was coming hard, Cannabis was coming hard. Capone Noriega came a year before that. Just a lot of artists was coming back hard. Outkast, Aquemini, Jay-Z, The Hard Knock Life. All of this is after 1997, and that's that year. Of course, Puff and Mace and Bad Boy was running things on a radio tip. So that's the start of the so-called shiny suit era. I talked about that in episode 2, the disrespect of 1997 hip-hop, which I still think the shiny suit thing is a little overblown, but you can go back to the episode if you so choose to, and you can kind of see my thoughts on that, and you can also just put that in on Twitter, and I've talked about this before. Nevertheless, 1998 was a very strong year, and Black Star, Mos Def, and Talib Kweli kind of gave you the feel again of, your Tribe Called Quest, your De La Soul, Brand Nubians. They were all of these guys in one, really. Super lyrical album, astronomy definition, and then, it's just a great album, and then, so in hearing the album, Talib Kweli had the song on there, is it KOS, Determination? And the way he rhymed on that song throughout the whole album, he just was rhyming like crazy. Of course, Mos Def was stellar, but we're talking about Talib today. Talib did an amazing job as well. And that KOS Determination, it is just an amazing song. And just hearing the layers and his lyricism, his messages, things of that nature. I mean, I was thinking that both of these guys would eventually have a solo career and also still be in a group, because I think they both had such dope styles that could translate into solo work. You know what I'm saying? So I really thought that. And then moving past the Black Star album in 1998, Talib Kweli and High Tech, of course, from Cincinnati, did the majority of the music, on the Black Star album. And they created a group called Reflection Eternal. Now, Train of Thought, the album by Reflection Eternal, it's quite frankly, personally, one of the greatest rap albums I've ever heard. I'm dead serious. It is a flawless album. High Tech production was nothing short of amazing. Talib Kweli carried that album. Of course, he had guests on that, Most Def, and several people that was like-minded at the time. It was amazing. I mean, he had a track on there like For Women, and he talked about just the history of these women. Man, it's like a bonus track on there. It's like 6 minutes long or something, and it's just when he did that song, that's when I was like, you know what? Talib Kweli is really he's the real deal, man. You know what I'm saying? But Reflection Eternal, man, the blast on there. I think an East Coast classic, beautiful video. You know what I'm saying? Like that train of thought. It made my top 25 albums of all time on IntoTheDome.com. I mean, again, it's just a stellar piece of work by him and High Tech. And, I really wish him and High Tech would have kept going with more and more albums. They did do another one, and we'll get into that as well. But, man, I wish they would have done like 5 albums. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, you have the 1998 Black Star album, stellar album. People call it a classic. It's definitely an underground classic for sure. Then he drops 2 years later, Reflection Eternal, Train of Thought album. Simply amazing, beautiful production, beautiful samples. He carried it lyrically on point. And we're talking about a hard-working guy. Because 2 years later, we talking about Successions of Two now. He drops his solo album, Quality. And that's when, of course, he really got a lot of notoriety on the mainstream because Kanye West produced song Get By. Now, Get By is a hip-hop classic single, very popular to this day. It has stood the test of time. It sounds just as fresh today as it sounded back in 20 years ago. In 2002, it's 2022 now. You know what I'm saying? So right on time for the 20th anniversary of Quality. I just thought about that, people, just now. I just realized when I looked at the year it came out. Wow, 20 years ago, Talib Kweli dropped Quality. So now you're talking about, over 23, 24 years total in the game. That deserves credit because he's still active. He still makes music, but nevertheless, Quality, critically acclaimed, had Waiting for the DJ on there with Bilal, dope single and video. He had a joint with DJ Quick, Put in the Air. Then he had one of my favorite songs by him called The Proud. The Proud, he breaks down like different racial scenarios. He talked about a family being shot in Brooklyn. He talked about Timothy McVeigh. He talked about the 9/11 attack and everything like that, because this is 2002, so September, of course, 2001, we had the terrorist attack on America. So he addressed it on The Proud. The Proud is one of my favorite songs from Talib Kweli. The Proud might be one of my top 20 favorite hip-hop songs. So if you haven't heard Quality in a long time, go on YouTube and put The Proud in and listen to The Proud. And yeah, just real quick, Put It in the Air is the song with DJ Quick. So he even reached out on the West Coast, and had a dope song with Quick. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you had the Quality album. So now you got a Black Star album, classic on the ground. You got Reflection Eternal's Train of Thought, and then you have Quality. That's from 1998 to 2002. Those 3 stellar projects and all of those songs. Excuse me, people. I wrote 40 plus miles today in my cycling group. Now, we go 2 more years down. You see this guy's working to the Beautiful Struggle album. And the Beautiful Struggle album had Faith on there, Anthony Hamilton on there, Rez on there, and John Legend on there. So it had some nice guests on the singing, on the R&B side. I thought it was a solid album. I thought it was a good album. I don't think it was the same potency as the previous 3. And if we're talking about solo, it's not on the same level as Quality. but I do feel like it's a solid album. And to have your discography as the fourth project that you've done in a row, whether group, collab, or solo, that's a lot of work so far. So I'm not mad at The Beautiful Struggle. I still thought it was a pretty good album. Now, if you see on here, and that's 2004. In 2007, he drops Eardrum. I love Eardrum. Eardrum is a dope album. But at the same time, in 2007, he dropped a collaboration project with Madlib called Liberation. You know what I'm saying? So now we're talking about, and he took a 3-year hiatus working on 2 different projects. The Liberation album with Madlib that people really love. It was well received. And then Eardrum was a big album, about 20 tracks on there. I think he had KRS-One on there. He had a song called Soon the New Day with Norah Jones, one of my favorite songs on the album, one of my favorite songs from Talib Kweli. And just real quick, I love Norah Jones, man. Norah Jones is a very dope artist. She also did a song real quick, my favorite song on Q-Tip's Renaissance album. What's the name of that track? Now I'm catching a blank. Life is Better. Life is Better with Norah Jones. So she's known to have dope collabs with hip-hop artists. And if you see her, it would probably throw you off. So yeah, Soon a New Day is one of my favorite songs on the Eardrum album. He had that joint Weather or something like that. I mean, the production was dope. He flowed hard on Eardrum. Eardrum was back to that quality album type of potency and like I said, and quality. you know what I mean? So Eardrum was much better than The Beautiful Struggle to me. The Beautiful Struggle probably would rank closer to the bottom of his discography personally, but that's just me. Now we're looking at Revolutions Per Minute is the follow-up to Train of Thought with High Tech 2010. And he had that joint on there. What's that song? In This World. In This World is a dope song, dope video. YouTube In This World. He also had that joint Strangers with Bun B. Very dope. And he kind of flipped his flow and kind of flow like Bun B on that joint. You know what I'm saying? Look, UGK, Bun B, they always, when they collab with someone, they always got off. You know what I'm saying? Like Bun B always got off, man, on collabs, man. You know what I'm saying? So the Pimp C, rest in peace, Pimp C, man. So that was a dope joint, man. And yeah, he had that song, Got Work. I love that joint, man. Like, Got Work was kind of like he was talking about Hollywood, and he was using Hollywood as some kind of symbolism as a girl, having Hollywood dreams and stuff like that, man. So yeah, it's very dope too, man. Check out Got Work. Then it had Just Begun with Jay Electronica, J. Cole, and Mos Def. You know what I'm saying? So he still was keeping it live with lyrical MCs. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, Revolutions Per Minute with High Tech was very dope. It's a little step under, of course, Train of Thought, because Train of Thought is, to me, is one of the top 25 albums of all time. But Revolutions Per Minute is very dope, and that is in 2010. Now, in 2011, he came with Gutter Rainbows. This guy is working. This guy's working. In 2013, he come with Prisoners of Consciousness. That's when he had that song Push Through with a Kendrick Lamar and Currency on it. Joint was hard. You know what I'm saying? That's 2013. 2015, he got a joint called Fuck the Money. And he has also in let's see. No. He has Gravitas in 2013, another dope album. 2015, he has Fuck the Money. And in 2015, he also has the Indy 500 joint with Ninth Wonder. You know what I'm saying? It's a collaboration project. He's on several joints on now. Ninth produced some on that, and then some other collaborators on the Indy 500. Also, I think some people from Ninth Soul Council, maybe some High Tech might be on there, and a few other producers. But that was a very dope project. You know what I'm saying? And then it's he had a song called not Every Ghetto, but it's a song with Rhapsody on there that's very, very dope too. Now I did skip. So in 2011, I talked a few minutes ago that he did drop Gutter Rainbows, but also in 2011, as I'm seeing right here, he also dropped Habits of the Heart with Rez in their group called Idol Worship. Excuse me. Now, I'm a big fan of Rez. She's got a joint called Golden Boy. You know what I'm saying? And Ice King and the Ice King remix with Nas. Her album was very, very dope. I like this joint, that the collaboration with Talib, and because of their personal issues, they couldn't do it. They only did this one project. I think they had something there. I think they had something that could have been really dope, but it didn't work out. You know, and I guess legally, some legal reasons why it didn't work out. So as you see, and more collaborations, man. 2017, he does the 7 with Styles P. Very dope songs on the 7 with Styles P. You know what I'm saying? Also in 2017, he has another album, Radio Silence. 2021, Gotham with Diamond D. Dope album with Diamond D. 2022, of course, this year they finally dropped with him and Yasin Bey, aka Mos Def. They dropped the Black Star album, No Fear of Time. So Talib Kweli has 8 solo albums and 9 collaborative albums, a total of 17 projects, man. 17. And I love his track on Sound Bombing too. Anytime he's done features with people, he's always represented lyrically. I mean, this is very impressive. Now, as we look again, his collaborations, you got the Mad Lib collaboration. Of course, the collaboration with Ninth Wonder, the collaboration with Styles P, the collaboration with Diamond D, the collaboration with Rez. I mean, he's not a lazy MC. So from 1998 to 2022, 24 years of making music. So when you think about the greatest MCs of all time and the greatest discographies of all time, how many MCs have 17 projects that span 24 years? Honestly, there's a lot of people that we call amazing MCs. There's a lot of people that we call legends who discography is not like this. Black Star album, quality. The Eardrum, Train of Thought, No Fear of Time, Gotham's, The 7. There's a lot of artists who are held in highest regard who don't have 8 solo albums. All right. Also, Talib might have had his issues on social media, like somebody might think he's difficult, but to be able to have 9 collaborative albums can't be so hard to work with in terms of as an artist. We know he's serious about his art. He's serious about writing his rhymes. I don't think Talib has had a bad project. You know what I'm saying? Some of these, if you rank them, some aren't as good as others. Beautiful Struggle is not on the same level as Quality. Revolutionary per Minute is not on the same level as Train of Thought. Radio Silence is not on the same level. For me, it's like, maybe No Fear of Time. But nothing is bad, though. I honestly believe that out of 17 projects, I don't think Talib Kweli has a bad project. He definitely don't have a whack project, because I think that he takes the art serious, the lyrics serious, his production always being good. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many times, if you like Talib Kweli, how many times you heard a lot of whack beats from rhyming over? He don't really rhyme over whack beats like that. I don't think that he shorted fans. I think if you're a fan of Talib Kweli, he gave you everything that's necessary. I think he gave hip-hop everything that's necessary musically. This is a lot of work. This is hundreds of songs. And this ain't even his unreleased stuff. That, like, you can YouTube Talib Kweli unreleased music. He has some unreleased joints that didn't make these albums. But these are a lot of albums. And like I said, when you go back to thinking about, think about your top 25 greatest MCs. Does everyone there have more than 10 albums? See, Talib got 17. Now, someone, of course, like Biggie, and I know some people don't like it, Biggie is an exception to the rule. Yes, Biggie has Ready to Die and Life After Death. But I've explained this in great detail on a thread before that Biggie really had 5 albums worth of material. You can pull that up at your leisure if you like to. But outside of that, most of the greats have, a nice amount of music, but some of them don't have this much music. You know what I'm saying? And some people might say, well, what about impact? Well, Talib Kweli, I think music alone could squeeze him in my top 25 because I'm about to work on a new top 25, and this episode is just trying to paint a picture of why you'll probably see Kweli around 23, 24, or 25 on my new updated list. You know what I'm saying? I think he's well deserving of that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I ran back while I was playing on the Hill on Earth by Mobb Deep. I ran a lot of Talib Kweli on and off. You know what I'm saying? I played Quality again the other day all the way through. And man, Quality is a great album. Like, that album can stand up against a lot of albums, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Black Star album can stand up. The first one, 1998, can stand up against, I always said it can stand up against most albums in hip-hop history. I really think Black Star album is that good. Train of Thought album in my top 25. And really, when I redo this top 25 albums list, I honestly believe I could squeeze in the Black Star album and the Train of Thought album. And if I had a top 50 list, which I'm not doing a top 50 list, but if I had a top 50 albums list, Quality would make it. Quality would make the top 50 list, man. So that would be 3 projects personally for me, to me, like I always say on Twitter, that Quality is part of or have 3 top 50 albums. Skill-wise, I remember at one point, Talib even admitted he felt like he was trying to throw too many words in certain verses. And I think he learned over the years how to pen his verses a little different, but I always thought lyrically he was amazing. I mean, again, Jay-Z was talking about him in 2003 on the Black album. This is after the Black Star, Quality, and Train of Thought albums. I never thought anything was wrong with the way he rhymed. It's just that it's that outcast syndrome. The fact that he was doing it with Mos Def, who I always feel is one of the most gifted, naturally gifted MCs of all time. So as dope as Talib Kweli is, sometimes on songs of Mos Def presence was a little bit bigger. So it'll make you kind of underrate Kweli until you just take a step back and listen to his flow and his verses, and you're like, well, damn, it was really just as good. You know what I'm saying? But you just kind of get mesmerized by the aura of Mos Def. Same way with Big Boy is an amazing MC, but sometimes the aura and the swag of Andre 3000 kind of made certain people, not everyone, but made some people feel like Big Boy wasn't as great as he is. But others know different. Others know that Big Boy is amazing. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Talib Kweli. I actually think he's an amazing MC and doesn't have a whack project and has been consistent over the years, as you see right here, between Quality, Beautiful Struggle, Eardrum, Go to Rainbow, Prisoners of Consciousness with dope album, Gravitas, Fuck the Money, and Radio Silence. Okay? Those are his solo projects. Now, one more time, just to read off his collaboration: Mos Def, Kweli, Black Star album, Train of Thought we talked about, Liberation with Madlib, Revolutions Per Minute with High Tech again, Reflection Eternal 2 basically, Habits of the Heart with Rez as Idol Warship, Indy 500 with Ninth Wonder, The 7 with Styles P, Gotham with Diamond D. Check that one back out again. It's very dope. And of course, No Fear of Time with Yasin Bey, Mos Def. That's Talib Kweli's discography, man. Again, look at your top 25 list of greatest MCs and then match it against Kweli. I think that you'd be surprised how Kweli's discography match against a lot of great MCs. I think that he has more to go. I feel like he's probably doing well with his podcast right now. And of course, they probably recorded No Fear of Time a few years ago with as far as Yasin Bey, but he did do Gotham with Diamond D just last year. You know what I'm saying? So he's still working. I wouldn't be surprised if Talib Kweli drop another album this year. You know what I'm saying? Or drop another collaboration this year. You know what I'm saying? Where do you rank Talib Kweli? How do you look at Talib Kweli's career? How do you look at him as a lyricist, MC, artist? What's your favorite Talib Kweli song? What's your favorite Talib Kweli album? I'm curious to that. When I post this, hopefully, we'll have a conversation about Talib Kweli. I think he's earned that. I would even say I did a post about quality about a year ago. Also did a post, and I posed the question: is Talib Kweli a hip hop legend? And it garnered a big conversation. I'm going to find that and repost. And I remember when I posted also on Facebook, Knife One was like, well, of course, kind of thing, you know what I'm saying? But I think people in the industry really look at him like that. A lot of guests that he's had on his show, even people like The Game was like, man, you inspired me, back when y'all was doing y'all thing or whatever, and still doing your thing. And a lot of MCs, Raekwon and others, like really got love for Talib Kweli in the industry. Other lyricists really respect Talib Kweli. You know what I'm saying? I think fans of lyricism respect him. But I don't think we're putting the proper respect on what he's done in hip-hop. Like I said, we're only talking about the music. Not any kind of personal thing on social media, not the situation with Rez, not anything else that, not his political stance, religious stance, whatever those are. I don't care about those things from people I don't know him. You know what I'm saying? But again, it's all about that mic and them lyrics and these projects and these beats. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. What Tribe Called Quest? Beats, rhymes, and life. You know what I'm saying? That's my thing when it comes to that, man. So look, again, it's a holiday weekend, not gonna hold you. I know you out there cooking and grilling. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna top this off by saying, man, one love to everyone. Again, I appreciate the support and the love so far. Episode 24 is done, man. Sip a cold one. Peace.